important for us. And we were really glad to apply for it in the first place, and then really glad to get the nomination. We are really thrilled that the European Commission is developing Salto resource centers in the field of education. As you know, Salto centers have existed for quite some time in the field of youth, but apart from the TCA Salto, there were none in education. So we are really glad that this Salto network is starting to get developed in the education field as well. Yes, I will tell you first about the mission and the vision about our Salto Center. Then I will continue with some guiding principles, and I will tell you what the objectives of our Salto Center are, and I will focus on the year 2022. So first of all, our mission is, as you can see on the slide, to make the Erasmus Plus program more inclusive and diverse, and to help build an inclusive and cohesive society that celebrates diversity. That's our mission. And regarding our vision, we would like to, and yes, thank you. And we would like to build an efficient resource center, which will integrate different activities, different strategic activities, partnerships, capacity building, support, tailored outreach for different target groups, innovation and evidence-based research in the area of inclusion and diversity into a framework. And we hope this framework will improve the quality and impact of the Erasmus Plus program in the area of inclusion and diversity. That's our mission, and that's our vision. And along our mission and vision, we envisioned 3 guiding principles. We hope that these 3 guiding principles, which are innovativeness, participation, and support, will help us through our work. And what we mean by these 3 guiding principles is following. Regarding innovativeness, we would like our resource center to collect and to create forward-looking and inspiring resources, and to become a competence center which will provide comprehensive and accessible resources and flexible learning opportunities for NAs, for beneficiaries, and for participants. Another guiding principle is participation, and perhaps this is most important, especially in this stage when we are setting up the Salto Resource Center. Regarding participation, we see ourselves as a very forthcoming and open network, which will actively seek collaboration with relevant partners and stakeholders, meaning that we are really open to dialogue and conversation, constant dialogue and conversation with the NAs, with the beneficiaries, and with the Commission regarding the inclusion and diversity, and regarding the priorities we should focus on. Then our third principle is support, something that is also very, very important part of our Salto Resource Center. It's building a vibrant learning community that is attentive to the needs and challenges faced by relevant target groups. So these are the guiding principles that we hope will sustain as we build the Salto Resource Center. And we can now move to the next slide, where I will show you the objectives. And I can just ask the person, yes, the person who is changing the slides, just to, yes, to press all the right buttons. Thank you. So we have 2 main objectives. The first objective is to support the NAs, in the Commission in their efforts to strengthen the dimension of inclusion and diversity, and to highlight the importance of inclusion and diversity for high quality implementation of the program. That's the main general objective. But what it really means is that first of all, what we plan to do this year, we would like to analyze the context within which NA operates, and the needs of NAs and the needs of target groups, in order to successfully integrate them in program activities. So first of all, we need needs analysis that will gauge what the needs of NAs and beneficiaries are, and this will help us focus on our activities from 2023 onwards. Then our next specific objective is to foster dialogue and coordinate knowledge and practice sharing between NAs. And here I specifically mean between inclusion and diversity officers, because as you know, each NA is supposed to nominate an inclusion and diversity officer. And we as Salto will provide a platform for inclusion and diversity officers to exchange knowledge and practices. Then our specific objective number 3 is to provide support and guidance to NAs on developing or adjusting their inclusion and diversity action plans, which in turn will help them develop their annual work programs with regards to the inclusion and diversity plans. Our specific objective number 4 is to provide support and guidance to the network of NAs in their communication, promotion, and outreach efforts towards target groups. Here we mean, what we mean by this is it will be really important for us to collect resources that are already existing, that are already used by the NAs, to collect them and to share them, and also to collect what the youth colleagues have been doing, because they have been active in the field of inclusion and diversity for longer time than us in the education field. So we will collect all these resources and share them on the website that we are planning to build. Okay, we can now move to the next slide, where you will see our objective number 2. Which is to build an effective partnership between the European Commission, NAs, and other stakeholders. And to be more specific, this means that we will support and cooperate in implementation of an in-depth analysis and impact assessment of the program in terms of inclusion and diversity. For instance, in 2024, there will be an impact study on the Erasmus Plus program, and we hope and plan to give feedback to the Commission on the impact that inclusion and diversity has achieved so far in the Erasmus Plus program. Then our other specific objective will be to bridge the gap between policy and practice through cooperation with different stakeholders. So our main partners, of course, are the NAs, their beneficiaries, and the European Commission, but we would like to move beyond that and to create partnerships with, of course, other Saltos in the field of education, but also with a Salto on inclusion and diversity in the field of youth. Then with the Air Care, with UNICEF, with ESN, with different NGOs, etc. And our specific objective number 3 is to gather and convey practice and research regarding program implementation and the inclusion and diversity priority to policymakers and program developers. Here we mean, of course, to provide constant input to the Commission in the first place, especially as we will be moving towards new program period when we near the end of this program period in 2027. And we can move to the next slide. These are our plans. We can go back. Yes, these are our plans for 2022. As I already said, we got the nomination for the Salto Resource Center in the field of inclusion and diversity in April. What we have been doing since then is we have started developing our team. We will have 3 people working for the beginning, at least. We will have 3 people working in our Salto Resource Center. We already have 2 colleagues working. They have started working very recently. One of them is our colleague from the NA. We were really keen to have a person who knows the Erasmus Plus program and who will not have trouble understanding the Erasmus Plus program and the priority of inclusion and diversity. So we have one colleague from the NA and another colleague who joined externally. She didn't have any Erasmus Plus experience before. So what we are doing now is we are both setting up the team and setting up the Salto Resource Center. And with that, we decided on 3 priorities for 2022. The first thing that we will do is to offer support to NAs. Some NAs have action plans which are really good, which are really functioning. Other NAs do not, or are not maybe very happy with what they have at the moment. So what we will do first is we will provide some sort of a mentorship. NAs will be free if they feel like it, if they feel the need, they can send to us their action plans for inclusion and diversity, and we will offer mentorship service. We will have experts who will provide advice like tips and tricks on how to improve their action plans. So that's the first thing we will do this year. Parallel to that, we will also build a website. We need to have a website for our Salto Resource Center. So we will be doing that. And while we will be building it, we will be really focused on making it as approachable, not only to NAs, but to beneficiaries, to make it really accessible, and to make this website, at least that's our plan, that's our idea, to make this website serve like example of what an accessible website really means and what it can really look like. And the third thing that we will start doing in 2022 is a needs analysis. We will conduct, with the help of experts, a needs analysis, which means we will ask NAs and we will ask beneficiaries about their needs with regards to inclusion and diversity. We will ask them about what they find most challenging and with what they need most help. And based on that, we will come up with priorities for 2023 and onwards. We do know about some needs. We do know from our perspective, from the perspective of the Croatian National Agency, but of course that's not enough. We have to take the perspective of all the NAs and their beneficiaries. We know that just from talking to other NAs that there is much need to really work on the awareness between beneficiaries and among NAs on the topic of inclusion and diversity. We know that we have to come up with resources that will be really user-friendly for our beneficiaries. We know that inclusion and diversity means different things to different NAs, to different beneficiaries, and that we have to work on a common understanding. So these are the things that we know there is need for to approach and to work with. But as I said, we really need a detailed needs analysis, which will give us a picture of what's happening among all the NAs and among beneficiaries, and from that choose the priorities for 2023. And that's it from me. Thank you. I'll be glad to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Ljubica. And I will ask the community here whether they have any clarifying questions quickly. Yeah. Any questions, or was it all clear? It seems that everything was really clear, Ljubica. So we are very happy to have your input, and we are going to share your presentation with the audience, if you don't mind, to yes, share it with the colleagues. Yeah, okay, great, thank you. And in case we have any further questions or more, we need more details, we know where to contact you.
Please do contact us, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Then we continue with the National Agency of Finland, who are going to host the Salto on digitalization, right? On digital. Can you hear us, Mika? Mika Sarinen?
I can, yes, it's a little bit bad, the sound, but I hope you hear me at least. So.
No, we hear you perfectly. It's that we have a little microphone here for you to hear us, but we can hear you perfectly in big sound system. So that should work.
Perfect.
Then I will pass you the floor, okay?
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us, both Ljubica and myself, to speak about the new Salto. So the Salto family is growing then from the from the Salto TCA to both inclusion and also now digital. And I'll be speaking about the digital Salto that was equally then decided to be placed in Finland, in the Finnish National Agency about a month ago. So I mean, this is fairly new still knowledge for all of us, and that's why we're still setting up the functions. I gave the same info, and so did Ljubica in the informal NA directors meeting about a week ago, and so your directors have already also heard the same information, but we thought that it was really useful to be able to present it to you TCA officers as well, because then one of the key questions for us, at least in the Salto Digital, is also how we can link, of course, the existing TCAs, but also the new TCAs and new LTAs into the work of the Saltos, because we see that this forms a kind of the bigger picture of how the program works.
Could we ask you to put the presentation on full screen so that we can see it better?
As far as I'm concerned, it's on full screen.
Ah, okay. I don't know, the slideshow, if you click on the slideshow icon on the bar.
I'll stop sharing and share it again then.
Okay, that might work. Let's see.
But
now we can see you in really big.
yeah.
You are like in a movie theater.
So is that better?
We can't see anything yet.
No.
Are you scared?
There's always a bit of a problem with the Zoom.
No, but if you go with your mouse to the left, there is this camera, right, or something like that. More to the left. That one, yeah. Yeah, that one. If you click on this.
Yeah, but But
no.
That's what I had done before too, you see, and then.
So we can't do anything really. So we will just adjust. Okay, thank you. Sorry for bothering.
No, that's okay. It's always a bit of a problem in Zoom. Anyway, so about the Salto Digital, the aims are to a large extent very similar, of course, to the Salto inclusion as well, except that the topic is digitalization in the program. So our three main aims is to first of all build a common knowledge base and increase the understanding in the NAs around the topic of digitalization. So we're going to continuously map the funded projects, identify and disseminate existing good practices and also gaps. So we're also going to have a future focus in this work. And right now, many countries might have a good view of the digitalization projects that are funded in their own countries, but we certainly don't have the full European view, and we certainly don't have a good view of projects in other countries that are interesting from the point of view of digitalization. So this is what we're going to be trying to do. And when I say map, this is actually, we're going to be using software we're already using in the Finnish National Agency now, and create a map or interactive map where you can both look at themes and areas and individual projects all in the same. So this is something that we're going to start the work on this year, and then of course continue throughout the coming years. We're also going to engage, of course, the NAs. This is really the motor of the whole Salto. It's the idea is, of course, to work with you and work through you in the NAs. So we're going to lay the ground for networking and capacity building, training, peer-to-peer learning, but also bring in outside speakers and outside experts to increase our knowledge. And of course, also link then with the Commission and the work that the Commission also does on digitalization outside of the program. There's actually a unit in DG EAC at the Commission that is also working on digitalization of education, and so we need to link with them as well. Of course, this is a big policy topic outside of the program as well, digitalization and digitalization of education. So it's so we need to be also careful with this, where the focus lies, because of course we're still working within the program. And the limitations also of our own program. One of the interesting questions, of course, from the program's point of view is also how to develop over this program period the virtual activities in the program. Right now, virtual mobility, for example, is only funded in higher education and not in the other sectors. You can, of course, do it, but there's no funds for it. This is one of the big questions, and we want to have an input on that and try to bring it up to a bigger and better level. And finally, empower the beneficiaries through the NAs. So this is the aim, of course, of our Salto as well, and through the information resources and the common knowledge base that we're building, that will, of course, be available to the beneficiaries directly as well. One of the differences then between our Salto and all the other Saltos is that this is a Salto for all the program fields. So for the first time, school, vet, adult higher education, and youth is coming together under the same Salto. And this means also two programs, so both Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps. And this brings a bit of complexity with it. We still don't have a huge amount of funding, but we would need to still be able to somehow have resources for all the sectors. We cannot hire experts per sector, so we need to somehow overcome this problem and find also common themes between the sectors. And it is really also important to know that this, even if it's called Salto Digital, it's not a Salto that will deal with the IT management or IT tool problems of the program. It will really focus on digitalization as a means and as a content and theme in the project. So not the IT, IT tool problems that we are experiencing. There's own units for that at the Commission, so they will take care of that. And like I said, strong links with the policies. So the plans for the upcoming 2 years, 22 mainly, is now to hire the staff and set up the Salto Digital. We need to hire staff from outside of our agency as well, perhaps somebody from inside, but this is a process we've only been able to start now, so we're not quite as far as the Salto inclusion. We are going to be launching the first versions of our websites and online platform. We're also going to open up a so-called house-based platform for the digital contacts in the NAs. Many NAs don't have digital contacts yet. There might be digital officers for the higher education sector and for the tools that are available there, but they might. But we need this in the other sectors as well, and they might not either. The digital officers be quite the right fit for this project. They might or they might not. So this is something that every NA has to see for themselves. We're going to start up the knowledge hub as well, so that's included in these platforms, and then hopefully launch the surveys of projects so that we can get going with the mapping of the project. We're going to try to organize monthly question and answer sessions around digitalization with some experts coming in, and we're hoping to have a physical meeting in Finland. And then we continue this work in 23 with seminars, conferences, training sessions, and some results from our first surveys. So this is a little bit more in detail, exactly the same thing, but something that we're also looking into establishing is an advisory group of NAs. So a few NAs that could help us setting up the things. And then we're really hoping to meet all the NA digital officers in maybe even in Northern Finland in the end of the year. Have a virtual Santa Claus coming in and meeting us there maybe, and some snow and cold. But right now we're experiencing the first days of summer here, so let's not dream about the snow and cold quite yet. But that would be towards the end of the year. So this is how we're setting it up, and as I said, one of the key questions that we want to also to kind of relate to you is the issue of the existing digitalization TCAs, the digitalization LTAs. There's a good one that Hungary is running, for example, for the school sector, and the links to the Salto of those, and then of course the new activities that you're planning. We would like to see, of course, a fair amount of digitalization activities, probably as well as inclusion activities now over the coming year and two, since we also have the Saltos to support those activities, and we can relay experts into the work you're doing and so forth. So that's something that is maybe now, it focuses maybe our activities, I think, a little bit, that we finally have also in the Saltos on these topics. So thank you from my part. I hope you could see some of the presentation material, at least, even if the screen sharing didn't quite work. And if you have any questions, I can answer those still. And otherwise, we'll be in contact to all the NAs before the summer holidays.
Thank you, Mika. We will ask you to share your presentation with us so that we can share it with the group, because we could not see so much of it. So yeah, that would be helpful, but we could really hear you clearly. So I'm going to ask the colleagues now here whether they have any clarifying questions or anything that they want to hear about more. Everything? Was it clear? Yeah, okay. I don't see hands now in the air, so it seems like as a first piece of information that was rather, wait a second, there is one person asking a question. Ide hívja magát, nem hallatszik, megismételje? Okay, if you speak into this, probably it's going to be heard.
This one, can you hear me, Mika?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my question is related to what is your planned relationship with e-twinning?
Yes. So e-twinning, of course, is its own activity and network, and I mean the plan isn't, of course, to any way disrupt that work or directly be involved with it, but we do see over the coming years a need perhaps to build some links. So we'll have to see how that develops really over time. And the thing is, of course, e-twinning mainly focuses on school education, to some degree on vet education. It varies a little bit between countries. So there's quite a few of the sectors that are not touched by that either. And we're looking at the common themes. And of course, when the focus is really about bringing digitalization into the Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps funded projects, and highlighting the theme in the project, then I mean e-twinning will, of course, and is already a link there, especially in the mentioned sectors, but it's not, there's also a different point of view, and we're trying, of course, to raise new topics as well. But we definitely need to relate to the seminars and the events arranged also around the school education gateway and so forth. So I mean there is a need for coordination there. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay. I don't see anything now. So if you could send us the presentation, Mika, then we will come back to you with eventual questions and we'll share the presentation with the rest of our colleagues. Yeah?
For sure. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of the meeting.
And we are going to continue here with a different type of activity.